Welcome back to Yoga with Sarah Ford. We have a new video for you in the beginners series. Today we are going to be talking about how to do butterfly pose. And so we're going to get started with that, beginning in our easy pose position. And from here, all you have to do is bring the soles of your feet together. And so your legs are opened up like a butterfly. There's many different modifications you can take in this pose. The purpose of this pose is to just open up your hip flexors in this area, and this tightness changes day to day and body to body, so you might experience it a little different than how I experience it. But there's different ways you can get the stretch without it being uncomfortable for your body. The first one being the distance your feet are away from your hips. So the farther away you let your feet come out, the easier it is to let your knees fall open a little more and your hips to relax but still get a stretch. And the more difficult it is, you bring your feet closer to your hips, and that makes it a little tighter, makes your hips work a little bit more. And so other modifications you can use in this pose is you can, as always, take a bolster and sit on top of it, as that allows your knees to fall open a little easier because your hips are above your knees. Sort of encourages that opening of the hips a little bit more. Another option you have is to place bolsters underneath your knees as support. If you find that it's harder and difficult for your hips to open up a little more, you can always place blocks underneath your knees just to have that added support as your hips start to begin this opening journey. So I encourage you to try out different modifications and find out what works best for you in the pose, where you feel that opening sensation of your hips, but it's a feeling that you can learn to enjoy and practice to improve and have more opening and flexibility in your hips. The next step, if you want to take this pose further, is by finding your pose of butterfly. And from here, sitting nice and tall and hinging from the hips, thinking of bringing your belly button towards your feet. So you're maintaining that connection of your back pelvis to the mat, and then you just shift forward as far as is comfortable. You never have to push it, and you only have to do this if this feels good for you and if your hips allow this mobility. It's okay to just work on sitting from here until your legs feel more comfortable, and then gradually start to push yourself in a healthy way towards your feet. And it's poses like this where I encourage you to learn the difference between sensations that are painful and that you shouldn't mess with and go near versus sensations that are uncomfortable but are just your body getting used to this pose if it's not used to it. Because there's a difference between those sensations. One can help you further your practice, the other you want to avoid. So yeah, I hope you incorporate this pose throughout the week, as this will help with your hip flexibility and just allow a little bit more freedom of movement within your legs. So thank you for watching. I will see you again next week with our new pose. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at Yoga with Sarah Ford, where I'm offering classes on Instagram Live and have a bunch of other things posted on there. And if you want to keep up with these videos, be sure to subscribe and like the videos, and I'll see you next week. Namaste.